Welcome everyone to Hillcrest Connects, where we briefly want to share with you what it means to meet together as we catch a glimpse of what God is doing in and through our congregation. Today we have with us Cammie Kannekens. Welcome, Cammie.
Thank you.
Cammie's here with us to share a little bit about her life group and what a life group means to our church family. Can you share with us how your life group has affected your life and your relationship with Jesus Christ?
Sure. We've been part of life groups for a long time. And so when you say your life group, that's meant different things at different times and different stages in our lives. Currently, our life group is, it's a place that's like home. It's a group of friends. It's a group of people that you connect with. And at the beginning of our life group, even though I'm the leader and it's like, okay, we got to, get on with our lesson because we want to respect everybody's time. We can't go without the updates, what's happening this week and, what's happening with the kids and how are things going. And so there's just that sense of family and connection and like, these are your people. Mm-hmm. So that's right now kind of what that looks like. Mm-hmm. As far as relationship with Christ, I am the one that usually ends up leading the lessons or the studies that we do. And so, any time that you're leading and preparing and doing those kinds of things, you have an opportunity to go deeper. Mm-hmm. And then just bringing that and, whatever our series is, we've been doing lots of video series kind of off and on. At least we do kind of a right now media video series. And so even just what are other people's perspectives or takes on those subjects and those topics, and it's even a sense of accountability as you study and listen and learn together. Mm-hmm.
So has it challenged you to go deeper in your relationship? Has it made you think of your faith or your relationship in different ways?
Yeah, I think anytime that you get into community and you talk about different perspectives or different what that can look like or sound like for different people, that's how I was like, oh yeah, I hadn't seen it that way, or maybe there's a different perspective there.
Yeah. I'm sure with different opinions and different views on theology and life even, that's brought some challenges and maybe some interesting discussions. How do you deal with that? What's that like?
Sometimes very carefully. That is interesting. And one of the things I've found from leading life groups over time, there's often people are at different phases in their walk with Christ, right? So often in a life group, you'll have the people that have, been Christians forever and they've gone to Bible school so they have a little bit of extra biblical knowledge, or they've grown up in the church. And so, depending on maybe what denomination they grew up in, that can lead to some differences. But then you also have those newer believers who don't even have a grounding or a knowledge, and everything's new to them. And even the simplest biblical stories that so many of us would take for granted that grew up in the church, even having to go back and explain, like Moses in the basket or different Bible stories. So over the years, I've found that it can really depend on who you're with, and the funnest is when you have people at different stages in their walk with Christ. I'm not going to say old believers, but mature believers with people that are new to Christ, because that's often they bring such an excitement and a fresh love that sometimes you lose after you've been walking with the Lord a long time.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. What's your favorite thing about your life group?
Well, it depends. If you ask the men, they'll say the food, right? Yeah. There's that. But I think that part, that community, that meeting together is the thing, right? Even though it's good to study and it's good to do studies, I think the biggest benefit of life group, if I look at the decades that we've been involved, is that sense of family and community. So it's getting together and sharing a meal or a snack or an event. And then with our life groups, we've always made it a real priority to do community events, or I don't know what the word would be, so not social event. Well, we socialize. Sometimes we have just purely social events, but events where we do projects or give back to the community. So that might look like volunteering to do hay rides and hot dogs, serving hot dogs in the kitchens, or cleaning toys for the baby room, or volunteering for shoe boxes, or cutting down trees, or different things at church, or even just things in the community like picking up garbage in a community. So those are the things that I think I like the most.
Would you say that the relationships you have in your life group are deeper than what you'd even experience in a larger church family?
Well, it is interesting. I grew up in a small church, and those relationships, that was like small group at church, right? Yeah. So the families were tight, and it was a different time too. But I think in a big church like Hillcrest, without that small group connection, people would just float, right? And I think of a lot of the people that we've been connected to over time. For lots of those families, they probably would hardly have stayed connected if it wasn't for that drawing them back. Now, for Brian and I, we probably would have we're connected and we'd come back just because that's what we do. But I know for other people at different times, without that small group connection, they would have just maybe stopped coming. Maybe stopped coming.
Well, you've kind of alluded to it already. But if somebody was interested in a life group, maybe they're not even interested, but they're listening, what would you say to them right now about life groups?
I think that especially in a church like Hillcrest, it's so easy to walk in and walk out, and you can choose to be invisible, right? And I think there's a lot of people that choose that, and they come to a big church because it's easy to do that. But I would say, just stop and get connected. A life group is like, it's just that sense of family. Even when you don't know that you need a life group, it can be such a support. When someone has a sickness, or a new baby, or just even when your family's going through things, prayer support, but also just the physical support of someone saying, okay, we're going to bring meals to you for the next week, or just those types of things can be so powerful. But also those faces to connect with, right? So you leave the service and then, there's my people, right? So instead of hightailing it out the door, I'm going to stop and talk to my people, and so that's a neat thing.
Yeah. Cammie, thanks for coming in. We sure enjoyed hearing from you today.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you for joining with us again. To stay connected, sign up on Realm, follow us on our social media sites, or visit us at hillcrestchurch.net.